All right. Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Softball Through the Decades. Tonight we have the decade of the 1990s. We've got a fantastic group of alums, a lot of talent on this call, joining head coach Sarah Caffrey and one of our current players on the Bucknell Bison team, Kaya Burton. Kaya is a sophomore pitcher from Brampton, Ontario, and we're really excited to have her on the call tonight. My name's Todd Newcomb, and I want to thank Geisinger as our sponsor for tonight's session. Geisinger has done a tremendous job throughout the pandemic, and they do an awesome job with our athletes here at Bucknell day in and day out. So we thank Geisinger for all that they do for Bucknell and Bison Athletics. I want to introduce our guest before I turn it over to Coach, and bear with me because this is a great group with a lot of things to talk about. So our first guest, and I'm going to use, for the folks watching at home, I'm going to use maiden names tonight so that you recognize these folks from when you were at Bucknell with them. So our first guest from the class of 1993 is Lisa Fink. She was a four-year letter winner, and she owns the third highest career batting average in school history at 423. She had school records for both stolen bases at 90 and runs scored 146, and ranks third in hits and ninth in home runs. She was all East Coast Conference selection in 1990, and then when the league changed to the Patriot League, she became a three-time All-Patriot League first-team selection, and she was also the Patriot League Player of the Year in 1993. Lisa was an ECAC second-team All-Star in 1993 and an NFCA All-Region first-team selection in that year as well. She was selected to the Patriot League's 25th anniversary team. She was the Patriot League Softball Scholar Athlete of the Year in 1993. In addition, was a two-time Academic All-District selection and a third-team National Academic All-American in 1992 and a first-team choice in 1993. Lisa also earned 3 varsity letters as a member of the women's basketball team. She won the Margaret L. Bryan Award at the department's Senior Awards Dinner, and Lisa was inducted into the Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame in 2003. Our next guest, also from the class of 1993, is Jen Yingling. She was a 4-year letter winner and the team captain in 1992. She started 144 out of a possible 145 games in her career. She still ranks among the top 10 on the career charts in stolen bases, runs scored, and hits. She owns the school record for walks in a career at 66 and owns a school record 20-game hitting streak during the 1993 season. She was an All-ECC selection in 1990 and an All-Patriot League first-team selection in 1993. She was an ECAC second-team All-Star in 1993, and she won the Bradley N. Tufts Award at the department's Senior Awards Dinner. Jen was inducted into the Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame in 2009. Our next guest from the class of 1995 is Heidi Dawson. She was a 4-year letter winner and the team captain in 1995. She had 13 wins and a 1.55 ERA in 1993. On the career charts, she still ranks among the top 10 in wins, innings pitched, starts, and shutouts. She was an All-Patriot League first-team selection and the Patriot League Pitcher of the Year in 1993. She was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in both 1994 and 1995. Heidi also won 3 varsity letters as a member of the volleyball program at Bucknell. She won the Margaret L. Bryan Award and the Robert A. Latour Service Award at the department's Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 1997 is Jennifer Gambos, 4-year letter winner and team captain in 1997. She had a career best 7 triples in 1997 and still ranks 4th in that category among the career leaders with 16. She was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in both 1995 and 1996 and an All-Patriot League first-team choice in 1997. She won the Lee S. Bud Rank Memorial Award at the department's Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 1997 as well, Jennifer Jasonowski, or more commonly known in the Bucknell softball circuit as JJ, a 4-year letter winner and team captain in 1997. She was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in 1995 and an All-Patriot League first-team choice in both 1994 and 1996. JJ was an NFCA All-Region second-team selection in 1996. And our final guest from the class of 1999, Jenny Snyder, a 4-year letter winner and the team captain in 99. She hit .429 as a senior, which is the 8th best single season average in school history. She owns a single season record for fielding assist at 150 in 1999. She still ranks among the career leaders in doubles, hits, runs, and batting average. She was an All-Patriot League second team selection in 1996 and an All-Patriot League first team had All-Patriot League first team honors in 1997, 1998, and 1999. She was also the Patriot League Player of the Year during that 1999 season. She was selected to the Patriot League's 25th anniversary team, and she won the Bison Club Award at the department's Senior Awards Dinner. So it's an outstanding group, a lot of talent. This should be a really fun call. Oh, wait a second, Coach. We've got a new guest joining us. Wow. Okay, she really,
Hi, guys. Hey, Green.
she really needs no introduction, but for those of you at home, Coach Terry Grebe arrived at Bucknell in 1978.
I was 12. I was 12 when I came.
And 42 years later, she's still a member of the Bucknell Athletics administrative team. Grebe began her tenure as head volleyball and softball coach, as well as the assistant basketball coach. During the 81 academic year, she was the head coach of all three sports, making her the only woman in Bucknell history to coach three sports in one season. All told, Grebe served as head volleyball coach from 78 to 84, head softball coach from 79 to 90, and again from 92 to 2000, head women's basketball coach in 80, 81, and assistant women's basketball coach from 78 to 80 and 81 to 91. Grebe's greatest success came on the softball diamond, where she became the program's first varsity head coach in the spring of 1979. She was a six-time conference coach of the year while amassing a program record 307 victories in 21 seasons. Grebe guided the Bison to the 97 Patriot League title, and 8 of her former softball players already enshrined in the Hall of Fame at Bucknell. Grebe is also Bucknell's first varsity volleyball coach and won 90 matches in 7 years with that program, highlighted by a 22-11 season in 1983. So Coach Caffrey, we've got a great group. I'm going to turn it over to you for the questions.
Hello, everyone. Grebe, I'm so excited to see Mac in the background. Thank you for being Guy. Super excited to have you guys all here. I have to say this is my third call, and that was the longest out of all of them to announce all those amazing accomplishments. So wow, so much great history on this call, and that's super exciting to get to listen to you guys give us some feedback and talk to us a little bit about, you know, where you come from, how you ended up at Bucknell, and all the fun stories that kind of come in the middle. So my first question is just to kind of go around the room and share a little bit about where do you live now? What do you do? What's your family like? You know, just give us a little bit about kind of your current situation. And I'll just follow around. I think there's a lot of Jens on this call, so that could get a little tricky. So I'll just do the best I can. Let's start. How about we start with you, Lisa? You're in my first frame, if you don't mind sharing first.
Sure. So I moved down to North Carolina right after I graduated from Bucknell, and I currently live in Chapel Hill. I am 6 miles from UNC and 8 miles from Duke. And I work as a physician assistant. I've been on my first real job for the last 26 years. And I have 3 daughters, and we stay busy.
I can only imagine. How about Jenny Angelucci? I'm bad at last names. I don't want to butcher it. What is it?
Just call her Schneider.
It's Snyder.
Snyder was my maiden name.
What is it? Sorry.
Snyder was my maiden name.
Snyder.
That's what
Okay,
everyone
I can remember that.
call me still.
I got you. I can remember that.
Yeah. So I live in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, not too far from Bucknell. Living here with my husband and 3 kids. Director of Information Technology at United Site Services. Different career path than I thought, but it works. Started coaching my daughter this year in softball, and it's been quite fun seeing that aspect of it as well. So that's me.
I love that. Thank you. All right. So then next I got Jen. I am going to butcher it again. I'm bad at letters this small. Gambos?
You got it, actually.
Oh, okay. Small victories.
So I'm now down in Clarksburg, Maryland. I'm right outside of Washington, D.C. I've been down here pretty much since I graduated from Bucknell. I came down here to get my master's degree, and now I've been working 20 years in forensic science. So I run a crime laboratory for Montgomery County Police Department. So I used to do some cool stuff when I actually was doing forensic science work. We did body fluid identification, DNA analysis. Now I've kind of moved more into the paper pusher role. I guess that's where we go as we get old. But so I've been doing that for a pretty long time. And I have one son, Mark. He's 6. He's going to be turning 7. I'm not really sure sports are his bag. He tried baseball and I was like so excited. And of course, like I meet another parent and she's talking to me and she's like, my husband went to Bucknell. He actually went to Bucknell, graduated from the same year I did. So at first I was kind of like, oh God, I don't even know who this is. It's a small campus. You guys know this is a small campus. So I'm thinking, boy, I hope our paths did not cross in some bad way. This is going to be so weird. But the first thing he did say to me is he's like, your hair did not look like that, did it? It was like huge before, because like my hair was seriously like, I come from like Allentown, Pennsylvania. It was big, really big. And I was like, yes, I had really big hair. So it was just kind of everything becomes a really small world. But anyway, my son was trying out first base and he realized that he doesn't need a glove. He can have the ball hit him. It stops it easier. You can pick it up, Mom, and you can still call him out. So this may not be his bag, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Love that. That's actually what we're teaching the team this year. It's kind of a new style. You just kind of like get in front of it and then hope for the best. So
You never miss it.
right. I can fully support that. Yingling, you're next for me. That one's the easy one.
Yeah. So after Bucknell, I went to the dark side and I went to Lehigh University for my master's degree. Was a graduate assistant with their softball program. After that, I moved back home to Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and came back into our family business. Been here ever since. I have a son and a daughter, a junior and a senior in high school, and my son has committed to Bucknell for next year. So I'm super excited to have him have a roster spot on the baseball team for next year.
That's awesome. And congrats to you. So
Thank
fun. Heidi.
Let me unmute myself. Hi, everyone. I am in my 23rd year of teaching high school English. This is my 15th year in my current district. After I graduated from Bucknell, I didn't immediately start in education. I was performing with a musical theater company on a professional tour of Guys and Dolls. And then I was coaching to supplement I was coaching volleyball to supplement my income, and I was substitute teaching. Anyway, I drank the educational Kool-Aid and really was fulfilled by my experience in coaching, especially. So I got certified to teach and have been teaching ever since. So this is year 23 of that. I have freshmen and seniors, so I have like bookends. I have them coming in and going out. I have coached volleyball for 20 years. I won a state title. In fact, we were the #1 team in the state of New Jersey in 1998. I had recently gone back. I resigned from coaching in 2013 and then came back just as a freshman coach this past year. Let's see, what else? I've been coaching softball. I coached softball for about 10 years as a freshman coach. So I've been really doing a lot of coaching and teaching over the last 23 years. I am currently divorced for the last year and a half. I raised 3 little boys by myself. I have a son, Steven, who just turned 11. I have twins, Colin and Michael, who are 7, and they are very, very athletic. And I follow them. That is one of my biggest hobbies, is following them around to whatever games that they're playing. My one son is pretty good in basketball and soccer, and the little ones try to do what their older brother does. But that's a little bit of where I've been for the last 25 years. But it's been a good run. I've never regretted my decision to become an educator, and really I can say that every day is a new day. If this Zoom thing is the wave of the future, thank God I'm old. So, thank God I'm on the way out, but that's where I've been.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. JJ, I think you're my last one.
Yes, save the best for last.
Oh,
So I am living in Oradell, New Jersey, which is a small town in the northeast of New Jersey. I actually reside in the same town I grew up in. I'm married to my husband for 19 years. We do not have kids. Our kids are the furry ones that have 4 legs, which we just bought a puppy on Sunday who is 12 weeks old and is crying. So if you hear any yelping, I am not torturing the dog, just going through some puppy phases. Yeah, and that's a Springer Spaniel, and she joins her brother, who is another Springer Spaniel that's 5 years old. And currently I sell buses. Somebody has to do it. I sell anywhere from like colleges, townships, governmental contracts, and I've been doing that for the last 15 years. And business is kind of slow because of COVID. So I am almost like semi-retired and I'm loving life.
this is already such a great call. I can't wait to hear these stories. This is amazing. So the next question is, take us back to the beginning. Don't act like you're too old to remember, because we all know better. And tell us about your recruiting experience and kind of how you ultimately chose to play softball at Bucknell. And if it's okay with you guys, I'll just kind of follow the same order. So Lisa, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I don't know that I was actually recruited much. I kind of sent tapes everywhere, those old VHS tapes, and hoped they watched them. And at some point I connected with Grebe and I told her, I really want to go somewhere where I can play basketball and softball. And I wasn't that great of a basketball player. So I think the deal was that they would probably not cut me from the basketball team if I came and played softball, at least the first year. I think they said they wouldn't cut me the first year from the basketball team. So that seemed like the best offer I had. So I went to Bucknell. But yeah, because Grebe wasn't involved in both, we spent many seasons together.
I love that. Jenny Snyder. Thank you for changing your name. I appreciate you.
I didn't. I think it was our host changed the name.
Oh, thank you, Todd.
Yep. So my recruiting visit was, kind of interesting. So my sister was actually recruited first. She was a year ahead of me. She was recruited to go to Bucknell. She decided not to go, which was good for me. But I lived in a small town that was near Bucknell and also kind of near where Coach Grebe kind of grew up-ish too. So, she came to a lot to the different games that I would play during the summer or during the school year, because she was recruiting from, all the local teams. I also played slow pitch games too during the summer, just like with co-ed teams and such. And lo and behold, I played against Coach Grebe during that time frame. So it was kind of funny, we knew different people from the same area, but so it was nice that my sister was ahead, so I could kind of already know a little bit about Bucknell and see the games and stuff. But what was cool too was I got to stay with JJ during my recruiting visit. And she's actually hosted my sister as well. So she got both Snyders, which was probably not, super fun for her, but it was, a lot of good times for me. But it was an easy decision for me. I loved the school. I loved, the business program was what I was excited about. And to have the opportunity to go to an awesome school like Bucknell was big for me. And so when they offered, I said yes. Another cool fact is that my great grandmother went to Bucknell back in the 1920s. So that was interesting too and fun.
That is
So it was a pretty easy decision for me to go to Bucknell once they said, do you want to come?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jen, Gambos.
It's so funny because when I saw Lisa's name, on the list of participants. And then I saw the questions. I was like, this is completely just so crazy. But when I went up to Bucknell, I just went, I think it was in the summertime, and definitely not really recruited, right? Kind of got something from Grebe, I think, to kind of come up there if I was interested. It was in the summer. I came up, kind of drove through the gates, and I pretty much was sold right then. It looked exactly like what I thought college should look like. Like, it was just everything I kind of expected. And I needed something small, came from a small town. I definitely wanted my classes to be small, but Grebe walked us around. And of course, like, how do you not like Grebe? Like, you just know it's going to be like the best mom that you could ever have away from home. So you know you're going to be so protected, and everything's going to kind of, it's just the way she presents herself. It's the way she handles herself. She talks to you. I just felt so good about it. But she took us into the gym, and Lisa was actually in the gym practicing. And so I always remember this. And, you know, she kind of talked about playing softball and playing basketball. And I was just like in awe of everything that she was. So I'm like, oh my God, this is what I have to do. And I want to say, I think her father may have worked at PP&L at some point. And my dad worked there too. And so on the way home, my dad just was talking about it, just kind of everything's just clicked, you know, everything. I don't know. That's all I can say. I just left knowing that we got home. My dad said, sit down. This was the last school I saw. We made a list, and honestly, Bucknell was just everything I expected in a college. So I certainly don't regret my choice. I feel awfully fortunate to have gone there.
That's awesome. Yingling.
Yeah. I feel like listening to everybody talk, there's so many parallels between our experiences. And when you go back 30 years, when we were being recruited, I wouldn't even call it being recruited. Like, a lot of schools didn't even have fast pitch softball. It was a lot of slow pitch in the southern states. But like some of you, I knew I wanted a small school close to home, highly academic, although my first priority was playing softball. And, you know, I got to meet Grebe, got to know her pretty well, and was really just happy to be there, and was really fortunate to be involved with 4 years of amazing student athletes that were there. We had some really successful years, and, you know, it was probably one of the better decisions of my life.
All right, Heidi.
I too, I kind of laugh when Lisa said VHS tapes, because I did not come from a softball powerhouse high school. And I knew that in order for me to go to college and play softball, you know, we'd have to send the tapes, we'd have to send letters, and make the contacts ourselves. One of the things that was very important for my parents, especially my dad, who was a college athlete himself, was he always asked the college coach wherever we went, for all the different colleges I had gone to be recruited by, and would ask them the same question. If my daughter has a lab, even I don't know what he was talking about labs, I'm not scientific at all, but if my daughter has a lab and my daughter has practice, which one are they going to go to? You know, which one are you going to tell them to go to? And now he would say, all right, whenever he would hear the answer, oh, definitely the lab, because he really wanted to be sure that if I was going to college to play sports, that my academics would come first. So in reality, the Patriot League had a lot of appeal for us. In fact, I was recruited by other Patriot League schools as well. You know, the thing that we loved when we came to Bucknell, just like Jen Gambos had said, you know, the campus, again, especially for my overprotective father, was everything that he dreamed college should look like. You know, and I was going to Villanova, and they couldn't guarantee me housing past my freshman year at that point. It's like, nope, that's not going to be it. You know, that again was a very safe campus. You know, the other things about it, you know, when I was on my recruiting trip at Bucknell, I had ran into Cindy Opalski, who was the volleyball coach. And I had only played 1 year of high school volleyball, my senior year, and I really, really loved it. And so upon meeting her, like randomly during my recruiting visit, you know, she offered me the chance to come out and try out and walk onto the volleyball team. And that was like a dream come true, because I really felt devoid of experience of volleyball in all the years of high school that I didn't play. And so to come on and have this opportunity was like unbelievable. My head was going to explode. there are also a few other perks. Bucknell had a dance program. Sometimes you'd see me running into softball practice in my my leotard. I go from my dance company to softball practice. In fact, the pitcher before me, Sharon Nichols, was also a dancer. So I felt kind of that connection that, we had dancing pitchers at Bucknell. And I don't know, and one of the other reasons I had there was no math requirement at the time at Bucknell, which was another bonus. I don't know if there is anymore, but there used to be no math requirement. So I could do the two sciences, but math and me, there's a reason I'm an English teacher. So, but it was a wonderful campus. I did not know Grebe before I came to Bucknell. And, that actually filled me with a little bit of apprehension. I had received a letter right before, I think it was August, before I was supposed to report, that Terry Grebe would be taking over as a coach. And so when you get that kind of letter and you feel like now you're, somebody else's recruit, it kind of fills you with a sense of anxiety. And I can really say that despite that anxious feeling, I really felt, as soon as I met Grebe, and really I feel like my relationship with Coach Grebe over the last, those 4 years of college, I mean, I made the right choice, and I would have never been as happy as I was and complete as I was anyplace else but Bucknell. So that's my story.
I love that. All right, JJ.
First, I'd like to say, well, you're welcome by me taking Jenny as on her recruiting trip. I did something good. But I was looking for a small school, had to be within 3 hours of my hometown in New Jersey. And recruiting wise, like how Heidi was saying, like I actually made my own video of me doing drills, game, film, all that stuff, doing all the splicing, putting it together myself. It was those big VHS tapes, send it out. And, Grebe responded. I had a recruiting trip, went there for the recruiting trip, stayed overnight with Colleen Bannister, who was a blast from the past. Loved the campus. Once I came on campus, it was just what I wanted, something small, openness, like the grass, like, just seeing Rook Chapel when you drive in is just amazing. And I wasn't looking for anything city life. I wanted to be someplace, nice and quiet, where, I could see people walking across the, quad and know at least one person I go by. And basically it actually came down to Lafayette and Bucknell. And just because of how Grebe was on the recruiting trip and how close the softball field was to the main campus was why I said yes. And it was the best decision that I made. I couldn't have been happier with the teammates I had throughout all 4 years. We're basically a family. To this day through COVID, we've had Zoom calls. We had it for beginning of COVID. Every week we'd be getting on, and it would be a group of us, anywhere from like 8 to 10 people, just, build up the morale, because one of our players on the team, Kristen Sandel, she was going through the trenches. She was being in the ER, seeing everything, week after week. So we kind of did the call just to boost her spirits, to get her, laughing and, get her out of the funk. Like she was just seeing bad stuff all the time. And that just shows you like the Bucknell family, like we weren't talking for a couple of years, and everybody, I don't even know how it all manifested, but somebody sent the text. It might've been Schneider. I don't know who it was, or Sandal. And then it just started to steamroll, and it was like, you couldn't wait until like Friday night, Zoom call, 8 o'clock, and that just shows you how, Bucknell stays with you even when you leave the campus. It's very strong ties.
That's awesome. I love that. So my next question, I think this one's really going to open this up. You all played for the greatest of all time down there. She's in my bottom right-hand corner, Terry Grebe. Can you share your favorite Grebe story and maybe just talk a little bit? You've already alluded to the fact that she's influenced your life in one way or another, but can you just share maybe your favorite story about Grebe and just how she's kind of impacted your life in whatever way?
Yeah, I was trying to come up with one story that would kind of encapsulate Grebe, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out what story. So I think, though, the thing that we've all touched on it already, like Grebe can relate to anybody. She's so comfortable in her own skin. She knows who she is, and she's just so easy to talk to and relates to everybody really well. And I think as a result of that, she never really tried to change us as people, like who our DNA was. And, you know, I think I made a wise choice in going to Bucknell because I tended to be perhaps sometimes overly aggressive, you know, swinging at 3-0 counts and stealing bases when I shouldn't be. and Grebe never really tried to change that. She, you know, she would sometimes be like, calm down a little bit, but, you know, and like Heidi said, we had people coming to practice in their leotards and, you know, other people that were like power lifters. And I think, you know, it was just, she made it a great environment for everybody.
I love that. Snyder.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot that you can say about Coach Grebe. Mostly good, mostly good. The you know, the one thing that, you know, you're just reminded of so much is the pixie sticks that were in the dugout. We had candy out the wazoo in the dugout for many years. And then all of a sudden it stopped. She's like, you can't have candy in here anymore. We're not doing it. It was just like, oh my God, do you still have candy?
Yeah, look.
Because to this day, when I see your Facebook post, most of them is about these new candies that are coming out. So that's like the one thing that I noticed and remember so much. But that's just the little thing. You know, the main thing is that everyone's hit on it. You really did make people feel at home, including the parents. You know, my parents, my dad loves you to death till this day. You made him feel so comfortable, so welcomed in his fanatical manner that he has. But, you know, you really welcomed the whole family, not just the player. And, you know, that was nice aspect to bring in family.
Your dad and I still message back and forth. I don't know if you know that. And I can't believe you didn't bring up the fact that you lost your glove and you had to use mine.
Well, that wasn't when I lost it. So I had it. You wanted me to break in your glove. The one I lost it was at LSU. I left it at the hotel and you made me sit. That was the first time
I know, I did. I bet you.
Sit. I was so angry. So angry. But you taught me a lesson. I never forgot it again. To this day, I get nervous when I can't find my glove. But I think more of what you taught me is more just like, you know, believing in me as a player. And, you know, I was quiet and you really kind of, along with the other teammates, helped break me out of my shell. And without the confidence that you provided, you know, I wouldn't have been as successful. So thank you.
You were a pitcher. You were a pitcher. I changed you to a shortstop.
You did.
So that was another little wrinkle in your.
Yeah, you gave me a choice. You said you can play every day and play shortstop, or you can pitch. So I said, I'm going to play every day. So
good decision.
Easy.
I love this so much. We got pitchers who came in with their leotards, and then we got pitchers playing shortstop. So I'm thinking this can come back for sure. This is awesome. Kaya, are you taking?
I'm next.
Okay, as long as you're prepared, I think we should do this.
Shortstop that was brought in to play shortstop that year wasn't super excited that I played shortstop.
Oh, probably not. You never want to get beat out by a pitcher. That's what makes it even better. You know, a pitcher beats you out, it's a win.
I'm coming for everybody's positions now. I'm motivated.
Yes. Yes. Yingling, do you want to go next? It actually shifted now. Whatever you guys want. Anybody? Jen, you want to go? Sorry, you unmuted. I just saw it.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, so Jenny Snyder, not only was it candy in the dugouts, but our trips always centered around what restaurant we were going to eat at and who had the best buffet, right, Grieve?
Yep. Cheap.
cheap and lots of food.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about Grieve is too, like, she understands the boundaries of Bucknell, like she understands the high academic standards, but was still always striving to make the softball program that much better and make us better as individuals. Molded us into a team where we were going to be successful, but molded the program too, where it took strides into a positive direction every year. So like our first 3 years, Lisa and I, we drove vans down to Myrtle Beach for our spring trip every year. And then finally our senior year, we got to ride a bus down to Florida. So like she kept evolving the program, and really set the standards even higher than they were when I started as a freshman.
And you bought my Samurai Suzuki.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah, that after my freshman year, you were selling your Samurai, and I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, I need a car, and I couldn't drive stick at the time, so I remember he drove up with me, and he had to drive it home until I could learn how to drive. Yep.
Oh man, that's awesome. Heidi.
I was thinking about like funny stories about Grieve, but I don't think funny is the right word too. I think it's more punny than funny.
Uh-oh.
Because if you know Grieve, you know how much she likes a good pun. So, but you know, I don't think there are a lot of funny stories. I know that there are puns. She had little one-liners that were hysterical. You know, I used to like when she used to try to stop foul balls on the third base side with her like tiny feet. You know, she was a warrior at the third base line. I remember her with her dog and Tasty Freeze and the Lewisburg Freeze. But I think that the best thing is that I felt that she cared about me. And for 4 years, I think that culminated in my junior year when I was hit in the face with the ball in North Carolina. I wasn't playing in the game. We were in a tournament in North Carolina, North Carolina and ECU. And it wasn't my game. And we had to run back and forth down the sideline. And my shortstop at the time, Kelly Core, was warming up, and she overthrew first base, and the projectile hit me right in the jaw. And you know, off to the hospital I went. Grieve took me to the hospital, so no ambulance, just the back of the car. But I remember like kind of passing out at the hospital. But I really felt that, you know, even though my mother or father wasn't in that hospital, you know, that she was right there. When I came out of whatever I came out of, you know, she was there. Back in the hotel, she was checking up on me, you know, and, you know, that really, really meant a lot. You know, the standards were always high, but standards were high in a good way. Like I remember like in the morning practices, like early Saturday mornings, you know, I knew that like Coach Grieve would be sniffing around to see where everybody had been the night before. But there was a standard set. And, you know, I think that you pushed yourself if you wanted to play and you wanted to impress the coach. I think that you really pushed yourself to be better and not, you know, as a pitcher, of course, I had different set of standards or whatever, but, you know, there was really no going out and like pitching hungover, drunk, like that wasn't even a part of the question. But, you know, I think that the standards were high, but the care was also there to back that up. So you never felt like you were like in a military presence or like it was overbearing. You just felt like you really wanted to do well because people cared about you and expected you to do your best. So, you know, that's what I remember. You know, I know that like even right now, like I could drive through Lewisburg and on a whim and ring Grieve's doorbell and, you know, she'd welcome you in with open arms. And so I think that that is also something that's to be said about, the way her I'm sure everybody could do that. That's a credit to her as far as the program that she established, in the last decades.
So I'm going to share a Heidi story. So this is just, all the teams didn't win championships, but Heidi, you remember she was in the bison costume for the 19 innings at Patriot Leagues, and it was hot.
It was.
It was hot. And you did the whole 19 innings in the Bucky costume, came down to Pates Park and cheered those guys on. I mean,
somebody had to. I mean, you're in a championship situation.
I know.
You needed
it. I mean, that just showed how much you cared about the program.
I know. I think that, when I came in as a freshman and I look at women like Lisa Fink and Jen Yingling, and they really wanted to win. So I was putting in the extra time in, the weight room and the running the stairs in the stadium and things like that, because I wanted to make sure that I was able to play with them and try to get them where they wanted to be. And when we were regular season champs my sophomore year, I think that was a testament to those women. However, junior and senior year, I felt like Mama Duck, because I had these girls like JJ and Gambos, and my ERA was really low, but we weren't winning any games. But it really changes your perspective, because those are the things I remember. It's really not about the championships. I played softball with JJ and Jenny Snyder on my father's fast pitch softball team. After I graduated from Bucknell, I played with them until I got pregnant in 2009. So I think that there's a lifeline of a lot of the players from here where, you may not have seen them in 5 to 10 or 15, 20 years, but there's something that binds us. And I think that stems from you. I think that stems from you, Grebe. So, to dress up in the costume, really wasn't torture for me. If you ever need a guest mascot, alumni mascot to come back, give me a call.
All right, JJ.
Wow. I always have to follow Heidi. So Grebe moments, oh my God. Well, let's say, Gambos knows what I'm gonna say.
Oh, this is a good one then.
So it was fall ball. It must have been was there a junior or senior? No, it was our senior year, fall ball. Or whatever, but we were having people over at our house off campus, and it was the night before, a game, but it's not in season, it's like out of season, but still in a season that doesn't really count. And we were winding down like a gathering that we had with all the softball teammates, so Gambos and I thought it was a great idea to pop open a beverage of the type that you shouldn't be having the day before a game. And guess who just comes right into the house? No knocking, no doorbell. It's Grebe. 5 feet of fury comes in, and she sees Gambos like we had a bar. So I just push my beer over to someone else, and Gambos just still has the beer in her hand. And Grebe's just gives us a look, and we just knew, we're like, uh-oh. And so the next day,
I don't remember this. I don't remember it.
You benched us.
Well, I
and
remember.
That's the game that Sandal went down. Like, she took a line drive to her arm.
Hematoma.
Yes,
hematoma.
Yeah. And that's something that we would never forget, but it was just the way you handled it was just amazing. Like, you didn't yell, you just didn't say anything, but the next day you just basically said you're going to sit out, I'll bring you into the game, but nothing like scolding, just enough that you acknowledged what we did, but not over the top. And that just shows, how that meant so much, because after that we were just like, wow, she could have really just, said, don't even come to the game. And No, it was amazing how you handled it. And just to your character, Grebe, like, you know, I went through like a rough time between my freshman and sophomore year, and I came back to the campus not knowing if I would be able to play or whatever, but you were probably one of the reasons why I made it back to campus come my sophomore year. And I never told you that, but
No, I did not.
so now it could be Gambos' turn.
Now that everyone's crying.
Yeah.
As we're like,
Hey, you know,
I
I
have
have
something in my eye.
hey, you know what? I have to show my sensitive side because I obviously do have a sensitive side, but everybody thinks I'm always the person laughing and having a great time. But no, she really means a lot to me. Follow that, Gambos.
Yeah.
Seriously, JJ, really? That story? Here's the deal. I mean, I'm not even sure I can say anything that hasn't already been said, but I'll kind of take it from a different standpoint. So I don't think I'm high maintenance, but I got some issues every now and again. So I'm not the easiest bird. Okay. That's the reality. I get it. I kind of know who I am. Grebe, here's the deal. So my freshman year wasn't the greatest. Sorry to Heidi, because that's the damn truth. You know, Heidi was coming off a look at her thumbs up. I know, it's like, you sucked. Ugh. But the truth is, she's coming off a well-oiled machine. These young kids come in. Jay, on the other hand, was a well performer. I was not. And so there was a lot of struggling for me kind of at second base trying to make my way. And I head into my sophomore year. And these are the things that, so, you know, I'd said before, like, Grebe is beyond my mom, away from home. Like, I always felt comfortable. I would have went to her with anything. That's the truth. And we always felt protected. But when she needed to rein something in, and honestly, you know, Sarah, this is something that I think is so key as a coach, because you need to be able to go to people and you have to have those tough conversations too, because the reality was, really, I'm expendable at this point. Like, you haven't really done that much. And we got a new kid coming in, and it is what it is, Gambos. Like, I'm not sure it's going to be for you. So I ended up going to like a sports psychologist. Thanks, Grebe. Yeah. And she'll remember I had to wear a rubber band on my wrist. So now it looks like I was trying to like cut my wrist every practice, because you had to pull the rubber band as far as I could and let it fly when I was having like these negative kind of things, which is so tough for me because my expectations for myself are just always going to be high, but you know, sometimes they're just not really realistic. And I was pretty negative about stuff. But the bottom line is, my sophomore year was a better year for me. And I kind of came back a bit to, I think, earn my spot a little bit more and deserve to sort of be out there. And the truth is, I'm not sure where my softball career would have went without that conversation, because I was an okay high school player, but I'm not like the rest of the ladies on this call. Like, I work really hard and I'll try to, you know, get out there and do my thing. But this is not like, I'm not any stellar athlete in softball, that's for sure, but I'll just work hard. But without that conversation, I mean, my sophomore year was a big, like, spring break was a big turning point. And I will say we had some of the best spring breaks ever. And I don't know what went on with Jen Yingling saying she got a bus her senior year, but we must have went backwards in Jen Gambos' time, because we got back into these vans and it was like a train wreck of 100 girls. Bats are flying on the ground. Heather Haynes driving. It's like out of control. But anyway, they were probably some of the best experience. I think it made it even better that it was just a circus, that you were sleeping on, you know, equipment piled up as your pillow. But bottom line is, there's no doubt any success in the little bit that I had in softball. There is no other person I would give that to but Coach Grebe, because without her pushing me, it never would have happened. There's no doubt in my mind I never would have gotten over that hump. And I played sports, a lot of sports, for years. And I should have went to a sports psychologist a lot sooner. Like, I should have went to a psychologist a lot sooner probably too. But the bottom line is, that was a huge change for me, just in the sports arena and in life in general. So I will forever be indebted to you, Coach. There's no doubt about it.
Do you want to talk about your knee pads and your fungus? Do you remember that?
Serious, but and I'm going to say something. So you know what happened? It followed me.
No
So
way.
when I started working, I had no problem wearing latex gloves. And then all of a sudden I was growing fungus on the outside of my hands and I couldn't get my hands into the gloves anymore, coach. So we had to go to non-latex. I have to wear now cloth over it. They thought I had to change my whole career at one point. And I was like, there's something, no one's ever diagnosed it. There's something bigger going on that this fungus just keeps growing from. I have it under control, I think now, but no, I was not going to bring that up. But
Oh, that was awful. That was awful. Okay, and the fact that you just brought up spring break, I just want to show one little picture here. See if you guys can you see this?
oh, really? Wow. That chick's in softball shape. Jesus.
It's at the pool.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, coach. Thanks. So was that when I think I got thrown in the water and my arm went on the tank? So I got injured actually in the process. Yeah. Great. I'm telling you, we had the best spring breaks ever.
Good. They were good.
I'm going to turn these next questions over to Kaya.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so just to start, what advice would you give me or any of the other players that are in our program today about the college softball experience at Bucknell? We can just go in like the same order. So Lisa, you can start.
Yeah. So I hope you get to play in the spring. I think outdoor sports are supposed to be really, really safe for those people making decisions up there. But I think just enjoy, the experience as much as possible. And even if the experience is a little bit different this year or any year, I think adversity in the end, like with COVID, makes people more innovative and I think appreciative of, what you have. And, but I think sports in general, I think is the best preparation for life. I mean, you learn so many things, whether it's time management and, how to balance, sports and school, it becomes, work and life later on. And then how to be part of a team. I mean, how to, you have to sometimes make decisions that are better for the team, even if they're not exactly what you may, want to be doing. So I think time goes by really, really quickly though. So I think from the time I started, it seemed like each day, I remember like in preseason training for basketball my freshman year, I thought I was never going to make it through. And then, pretty soon it was 4 years were up and I was out of there. So try to enjoy every day as much as you can.
Thank you. So then now it's Jenny Snyder.
Okay, so for me, I would say, make sure you have a balance, right? So while we're all on here talking about softball and everything, that's not the only thing at campus. That's not the only thing there. Make sure you explore other avenues as well and other opportunities. That's really the best time for you to explore kayaking, theater, dance, whatever your heart desires, it's there for you to do. I chose because I love the game, to do a lot of softball. And I think I just might have missed out a little bit on other things, but just make sure you try to enjoy everything that Bucknell has to offer, because there is a lot there and you don't get the time back. So just add some balance to your life.
Yeah, from the stories, I feel like I need to start showing up to practice in a leotard.
There you go. Oh, so the moment I met Heidi was on my recruiting visit, and she was in a yellow leotard or these yellow tights. I was like, oh my God. And JJ's like, oh yeah, she's on our team. I'm like, oh, that's fitting.
And usually wearing a sports bra.
She had a whole dress on this time, so I think she was
She'd
covered.
come in with a sports bra on her tights, and the whole baseball team would stop practice and just watch her. Mm-hmm.
So balance and finding your way with other things too.
Perfect. So then we'll go to Jen Yingling.
Yeah, Jenny Snyder, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think much like yourself, I focused probably too much on softball, and I did in like, I have lifelong friendships that I made through softball there, but I think I put my heart and soul into softball so much that I didn't take classes that I wish I would have taken. I didn't get involved in activities I wish I would have become involved in. And as cliche as it might sound, that you only have 4 years to play the sport that you love, absolutely do that. But also make sure you broaden your horizons. And part of what makes Bucknell so special is it's a liberal arts school, and you can take all kinds of electives that are outside of your major that you may never have thought of taking, and you may not have had the opportunity to take if you were at another institution. So yeah, take advantage, enjoy every day of it. And and like Heidi too, after I finished my softball career at Bucknell, I played several more years of amateur ball after that. So I extended my playing career as long as I possibly could, and loved every minute of it.
Okay, and then with that, I guess we'll just go over to Heidi.
I think my advice would be, I look back at Bucknell, and we just had my 25th reunion. It was held virtually. And I sat with this bison head in the back of me here because my parents had that when I was in college. So my son says we're never getting rid of this head, but I look back at my experiences and it just seems like it was yesterday. But in the blink of an eye, it all goes away. In a blink of an eye, I've got sons that are in middle school, and it blows my mind. But I think that when you're there, I think you need to be grateful for every opportunity that you have. Because if I look at what we had as players, I know that the games, I usually pitch the second game in a doubleheader. So, we would take turns who was going to run out to the slatted scoreboard and hook the score on the board and search for the number and hope that, you had the right number in the basket. We didn't have the facilities that are there now. I mean, when I came back for the 40th reunion of softball, which was a wonderful weekend, not only for me and my teammates, but for my sons to see the facility. They're like, wow, you had a great field, Mom. I said, nope, this wasn't our field like this before. This was not it, and we've come a long way. And I really think that despite any disappointment, of possibility of shutdown, anything like that has got to be put in a balloon and sent away, because you are given a real gift to be at Bucknell. Female sports funding has come a long way, and hopefully that's not going to evaporate with all the COVID stuff, and we're not going to go backwards in that area. But you really do have a gift, and regardless of what might happen with softball or your season, if you have it in your heart, I think that, like, sports has always been a part of my career. That's one of the reasons I have foregone making good money and I've become an educator and coach, is because I have loved the experience of coaching and teaching. But regardless of what you do, in life, I think that you can take that sports with you. So it doesn't end at Bucknell. So be grateful for what you have, keep those things in your heart, and move on to each new experience in life. So that's what I have to say. JJ, you're next.
Wow. Like, everybody's just covering everything. Well, I'm going to add something. Like, first, I'm so sorry that you have to be on campus with COVID, but make sure you stay safe and do what everybody's recommending, because you don't want to lose out on more stuff. Even with COVID, you can always look at the bright side of things. It's a different situation you're in, but you got to make the best out of it. You might have even stronger relationships with, whoever your roommate is. Explore around campus. I don't know if they still have the farmer's market going on, but Grebe taught me about this farmer's market. Holy cow. It was a ritual every Wednesday, and they had the best hot dogs and those sausages on the grill. I probably got cholesterol readings like 300, but it was an awesome place. Like, and that's just the little things. Like, it's a small town, but there's just so much that town offers, you know, the kids at the school. And, you know, those are some of the memories. And, you know, you don't want to speed up anything. You want to stay and live every day and enjoy what you have, because, you know, at the end of the 4 years, it's just like, okay, you know, for me, I wasn't going to grad school. It was just like, okay, go home, get a job. And by being a softball player, people look at that on your resume, you know, even though, you know, you give them, it's basically schooling and so forth. But when they see that you're in, you know, an athletic team and stuff like that, and they eat that up in the business world. Like, you know, that's how I got my first job. They were just like, wait, you know how to juggle? Well, I really didn't do a good job juggling academics with athletics. It was more like athletics, but I got through it. And, you know, when you get into the job world, they just want to see that you graduated, you know, especially like a prestigious school like Bucknell. And, you know, with that softball, you know, atmosphere, you know, that just helped me land my first job, because they know that you can handle stuff that's thrown in different directions, you know, and that you'll be a team player, you know, and that means a lot. So that's all I have. And go farmers market. And have you been to the farmers market, Ella?
I haven't. I've always had class during it. So
Oh, no, it's all day
hopefully I'll be
long.
able
It's
to.
all day long. No
It's all
excuse.
Our Wednesdays this year are crazy. So hopefully next semester I will be able to get out there, especially COVID will calm down and I can go.
I'm telling you, even ask Gambos, like when we had the house off campus, I had a barbecue and I would get the ground beef from the farmer's market. We'd be having hamburgers, hot dogs, everything. It was awesome.
I took Sarah on, what, your second week here?
Yes, it's so good. It was the best. It's the best.
I actually had, my mom came up for a visit purposely for a game that was going to be on a Wednesday, so we could actually hit the farmer's market, because I talked about it so much. My mom had to come up.
It's amazing. It's definitely the best. So definitely on board with that.
We'll have to have a team trip. We'll go together. And then now it's up to you, Jen. Gambos.
All right, I'm going to try to make it quick because I think everyone covered it. But the reality is everything they said, I think Jenny hit it. Jen Yingling hit it too, about just kind of doing some different things. So I got involved. Like, the deal with my dad is I was a chemistry major. I was a BA though. So I could pick one class per semester that was mine. So I took 2 semesters of acting. It was the best class I ever felt like I took up there. Maybe pop, sex, and cults was actually a close second, and that was super interesting too. But I got involved in doing some plays and I really enjoyed that. So I do think stretch yourselves a bit. But here's the one thing. So COVID, it just sucks. I mean, that's just a reality. But the one thing that I felt came back that I look at and I was like, it's funny because Jay's on the call, Heidi's on the call. So some of us that played together, we kind of got back together and we started doing Friday night Zooms. And, you know, because there's really nothing else that you're doing. And we've incorporated so many people from our teams, and different weeks, different people were coming in. And I say this to you because the reality is the relationships that you build. And I'm telling you, some of us have not spoken for 15 years, but yet we were back at it. And it was like a day didn't go by. And so that's just the cool part of like what you're kind of building and making right now. And you know what, like, you got to be serious about school. You got to be serious about the sport, but there's never a time that you are going to get again when you can wake up and be like, you know what, we should just all hang out and like do our thing. And I'm not going to tell you to do stuff you probably shouldn't be doing, but the reality is enjoy yourself, take some of those days. Because that's what college is about. That's the whole deal here. When you get out of here and you have to work, it's kind of harder to be like, hey, let's get a keg because you're 21 and we're not going to go to work and we're all going to hang out and we're going to really, like, no one's doing any class and it's so much fun hanging out. You just don't get that anymore because now they kind of expect you to go every day. It's like a whole thing. But so take advantage of some of that time. That's the reality. And, you know, do some stupid stuff. I mean, you're not going to do anything to harm yourselves, but that's the time to have fun. Like, that's what's, so just make sure you're doing some of that. Because I do think softball, as much as it took a lot of my time, I never regretted a minute of it. Most of my fun was tied into it, with the team and hanging out with them, outside of practice too. So take advantage of that. And it was, enjoy it. Let me tell you, enjoy it.
I love that. Okay, so we only have time for one more question. I think this one's got to go to, not that you guys aren't all special, but the woman of the hour, Grebe, down there. I feel like we need to hear in her words, since she's the one with the long storied career as a head coach. You guys have been loving up on her all night, so we all know
Bring it
how
on.
good she
Bring
is.
it. Let's hear it.
So I want to know if you could take all of your memories and pick one. Tell us like your most rewarding or favorite moment. Yeah, I'm putting the pressure on. One of your like top, just like amazing moments or favorite memories from being a coach.
All right. Well, I'm going to actually violate it and give you two. The one thing I'm proudest of is these guys. Everything they've done on the field, off the field, it means something to me. Anything I ever accomplished was because of these guys. And so I guess my proudest moment was finally winning the championship after losing like 6 times. The monkey on my back grew into a gorilla. We finally won it. And then I did get into the Hall of Fame when 200 of my alums came back. So there it is in a nutshell. But these people are friends forever. Their parents are my friends. I see Finks all the time. Her sisters. Jenny, I can't tell you how often I see your mom and dad. So this just doesn't go away. It stays with you. It's one big family.
Guys, my heart is going to explode. You guys are the cutest. This is amazing. So I think I'm turning it back over to Todd. I know we're getting close to time, but thank you guys for sharing. That was really awesome.
So we all know that Grebe's being completely modest, like she always is. And in all the years that I've been here doing the Hall of Fame stuff, never witnessed a turnout for one inductee like the one that we had when Terry Grebe got in the Hall of Fame. And you all know it because you were all there and your teammates all came and everybody came back. And that was, to me, that just epitomized a lot of what you ladies were talking about earlier, the Bucknell softball family. It's truly a family. And, for Coach Caffrey now to step in and she has an opportunity. She has a big opportunity to bring this family back together. We all know it's been a little rough the last couple of years with a bunch of different coaches over those years. And now this is a chance for us to reunite that. And Sarah and I have had those conversations already. So I'm really looking forward to that. But before I forget, I want to thank Kaya for taking the time to join us tonight. And I know you only got to ask one of your questions, but we had so much great talking going on here and a lot of great conversation. It was hard to get all the questions in. So Kaya, thank you. And as Lisa and I think some of the other ladies said, we really are keeping our fingers crossed that you will have a competitive season this spring and that you will be playing on that field right behind me. And if you are, we'll all be cheering for you and your teammates. So good luck with that and good luck with the rest of the semester. And back to the alums, ladies, thanks so much for taking the time to be on tonight. Terry made a comment that is right on, and it's what you've done since you left Bucknell. While you were here at Bucknell, it's the entire package that makes Bucknell softball and the Bucknell softball alumni community what it is. So thank you all for being a part of that. Thank you all for helping our current student athletes like you all do. We couldn't have the program we have without your support. So I thank you for that. And then for those of you that tuned in tonight to watch at home, thank you for doing that. And go Bison. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Great
guys.
seeing you all.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.